Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, yourselves, desolate earth's peasant vassals. I'm a useful idiot, and today I'd like to talk about gun control, the topic du jour. And, of course, we have this horrible tragedy in the shooting in Connecticut and all those poor children. And, of course, we've discussed that. And this massacre is so extreme. It carries a great deal of emotional power. And that is what we're seeing unleashed now. And I hate this part. I hate seeing this disgusting spectacle of media exploitation and political opportunism, the double-headed snake. And we're seeing it in spades now. And, of course, we have everyone out there crying for the politicians to do something. And all the politicians are lining up to promise that they'll do something. And then, of course, there are politicians that are pointing at the other politicians saying, you're not doing enough, and you never did enough, and it's your fault, and it's because God's punishing us, and all this other horse manure. And it just keeps degrading this tragedy. So this tragedy will continue to be degraded over and over again between the media and the politicians. And the two parts of the spectacle can kind of be boiled down to two things. One is catering to people's most base emotions, fear and anger. And then you hand them this placebo of the sense of vengeance and the appearance of safety. So that's the two-part description of how this event unfolds now, with all this talk about gun control. And you have to rope in these guns and all that. And as usual, they will be addressing the results, but never the symptoms. And no matter what they do, it won't change anything. The violence will continue because it's the nature of our society now, and the moral bankruptcy and the decay in our society now. Fact is, they're going to call for more regulations, and they don't even enforce the laws that we already have. And but they want to create some more. And this will only drive guns further underground, and criminals will be the only ones to have guns. We've all heard all the cliches. Guns don't kill people, people kill people. And that's true. They're going after the tool, not the person that used the tool. And mathematically, that's correct. When you have something around, I don't know, what do we have, 100 million guns in this country? The ratio of them that are used for killing people is a very minimal, infinitesimal amount. And the fact is that a lot of the human-on-human violence that is done by guns is actually used by the same handful of guns. So just having a gun is not going to turn somebody into a criminal. And people can talk about convenience. And that there is an argument about convenience. But once again, it goes back to laws that we have that are not enforced. And also the fact that we also know that these gun-free zones in schools and places like that, or look at the airlines with the hijackers. People can easily understand why they should have air marshals or why we should just arm pilots. Very simple solution to this problem. And now we're having these discussions about how we can increase security at schools. And I think just having citizens around who are armed and legal creates a great deterrent. And, we won't know for a while because we haven't been able to test that theory, but we've seen plenty of examples of average American citizens protecting their rights and their law and their property with guns. And personally, it gives me a great deal of inspiration. And the other part of this that is interesting is I think Deb Truth brought up a couple of really good points, and one of them is, of course, this political opportunism by the Democrats right now is totally shameless because, of course, this gun control hasn't been part of their agenda for quite some time, and but now it is. But if it was really important to them, it would always have been part of their agenda. It wasn't even part of the 2008 Obama platform. So it exposes all their exploitation of these poor children's deaths. And, I don't want to go into too much gun control argument because the bottom line is people believe what they're already inclined to believe. I'm not going to change any minds, and nothing's going to change because people believe what they want to believe, regardless of the intellectual merits of an argument. Certainly, a lot of Americans don't understand what a lot of students of history understand, and that's that an armed population is a roadblock to tyranny, and it needs to be clarified that Obama and other pundits are incorrect when they talk about the amendment to the right to bear arms in the Constitution and the Founding Fathers, and its intentions is so that Americans can go out squirrel hunting, and that's laughable. We all know why it was written, so the American people could protect themselves from tyranny, because as Deb Truth also pointed out, the Founding Fathers were not naive. When you read all the documents available by the Founding Fathers, you will find that there is not much new under the sun. And the bottom line is that times may change, but human nature stays the same. And the Founding Fathers had a very insightful take on human nature. And they understood the nature of power, and they understood the nature of corruption of power. And so they were trying to protect us and help us keep our republic. And so those that suggest that the Founding Fathers are naive and that these are different times need to look again, because some great truths are eternal, and some things are just plain common sense. And the bottom line is, when you look around at the world, we have a unarmed population, except for the bad guys. And then you have the American population. We could end up being the last bastion against world tyranny. And there's many who will find that laughable and talk about conspiracy nuts. But the students of history and people who are actually paying attention to events and movements in our society and the world today understand why we have to be vigilant. We have to be careful about taking away these rights that ultimately protect us. And I also find it interesting, in light of everything, that the liberals and the American population, the part of the mob that's clamoring for gun control now, they don't want to put any discussion on the table of the fact that the United States is the #1 arms dealer to the world. And of course, we loaded down Libya with all sorts of guns, and we don't really care about all the deaths that are going to happen there. And we're loading down the Syrian opposition and Al-Qaeda with guns, and we don't really care about the deaths there. And we're shipping arms all over the world. And I don't mean to rub America's nose in it, or people who are watching this video rub your nose in it. But if we're really going to talk about gun control, let's talk about gun control, not this microcosm in the United States. And I guess the last thing I'd like to say about gun control is that if you let the government take away all the guns in America, it'll just make American citizens more of a slave than they already are. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.